McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
This episode is brought to you by Chevy Silverado. When it's time for you to ditch the blacktop and head off-road, do it in a truck that says no to nothing. The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. Get the rugged capability of its Z71 suspension and 2-inch factory lift. Plus, impressive torque and towing capacity thanks to an available Duramax 3-liter turbo diesel engine. Where other trucks call it quits, you'll just be getting started. Visit Chevy.com to learn more.
Make that move, you can't relate to that. I roll the dice, shit, if I lose, I'm gonna be shaking back. Cause lessons learned within the loss just elevate the fact that trial and error just the only way. Ain't no escaping that. I wake up, hit 100 push-ups, then I'm at my route. Check on my stocks, see how they looking, then I'm sliding out. When you start seeing your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out? True to this game, and I'm a lifer, ayy. Feel like we finna change the cycle, ayy. That's the most success, you know we thriving, ayy. That's the most depression for our rivals, ayy. Could teach a lesson on survival, ayy. You know I'm from the bottom.
What's good with it, wealthy people? It's your boy David Bellard, host of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast, here with my brother from another, my boy Jalen. How you doing?
Yo, what's good with it, my brother? How you doing, bro? I cannot complain, man. It's a beautiful Sunday evening. I'm feeling good, feeling great, feeling blacktastic. Grateful to be back here for another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Ready to kill it, give y'all some great game on another installment. How about you? How you doing, man?
Definitely, bro. Like you said, great Sunday. Got a little grilling done.
Same here.
Now we about to pod. I can't ask for much more in the day, man. You know what I'm saying? Grills and pods, man, make a happy man. That's all I can say. And
one more thing else
bro.
that you could add to that.
You feel me? But, yeah, guys, we back with another great installment, with another powerful episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast, and we're gonna roll right into it, guys. So, for this first topic, what we wanted to talk about is something that we posted about this week, right? I think that's gonna be a trend y'all gonna notice. Like, we're gonna continue. We want to give additional context to the stuff that's on social media, especially with a lot of clickbait information out there. So, one thing that we posted about this week was the NIL evaluations for the top black players, and we saw some crazy numbers on there, guys. Like kids that are in high school, they valuing them at $4 million. And what's so crazy about this, and what makes us want to talk about it more, is because, prior to 2021, that really wasn't a thing. Before, athletes, they were held to the NCAA's amateurism rules, and they had to maintain an amateur stature to make sure they can be eligible for the NCAA sports. While this was going on, the NCAA was making billions of dollars off the name, image, and likeness of these kids. Well, now that that's changed, these kids are able to make money for their name, image, and likeness. So yeah, after years of gaining public support and some state legislators passing laws, we've seen the NCAA enact their own law and their own rule, and now they allow colleges to let athletes get paid either through brokering deals for themselves or through collectives, which are like sponsors, clubs that consist of boosters and notable alumni who make sure that the players have like an infrastructure or deals, that money that they can have to essentially get paid to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, why we think this is important is because, as we know, most of these kids in these sports are black men, and we see this as
black men coming from underserved communities as well.
Yeah, exactly, coming from underserved communities. So we looking at this as like, it used to be you had to go pro to hit the big ticket, but now you can start off from the time you become the man and use your name, image, and likeness to generate wealth for your family. So it's really a revolutionary concept, so we really want to talk about how the NIL can present as a tool to build black wealth, And for this, we have to bring a special guest in, guys. We got one of
Yes,
our
sir.
podcast favorites. You done heard him on here a
Yes,
couple times,
sir.
man. Our
My boy
guy,
done bossed up since the last time y'all talked to him.
man. Every time we talk to him, he level up, bro.
Yes,
My man
sir.
went from being the
My
first
man
black
is
man
a
I knew
big
that owned a
dog.
college personally. That was the first black man I knew that owned a college, to operating, in this NIL space at a level that we don't really see. So let me get y'all more talk about it, right? So
Yeah,
like we always
run down
talking
the
about wealth
stats,
and money.
man.
Yeah, man. So my guy, RPA College, first school that I came across that was giving, young black men the opportunity to play while also giving them skills and a route to go into the real world. And now my brother is doing the same thing in the NIL space, right? So we talk about business and strategy a lot, but today we're talking about a whole new lane, NIL finance. Our guest is none other than Reggie Calhoun Jr., the man
AKA
behind
Reginald.
ProStrat Innovation, the man behind ProStrat Innovations and Athlete RevOps, the first financial system built for athletes to actually manage and scale the NIL money. That's major. He's building the NIL economy like it's a business because it should be. If you think NIL is just about sponsorships, you're missing the bigger picture. So Reggie, come on, welcome to the show, man. I want to hear what you got to say about this because this is something that's going to be pivotal for the community.
Man, glad to be back, man. It's been a little minute. Like, I
It's
think,
been a minute.
Man, it's been
Since
some years,
2022,
dog. It's been
bro.
some years, but it feels good to be
Yeah,
back,
since
man.
like
yeah,
2022 was the last time we linked up on the episode, bro.
that was like a time I hunkered down too. Like I really was like, all right, I'm about to, niche down and like really get locked in on what's important. So, that was like right around that time too, for sure.
hmm So
Definitely.
I'll let you go, Dave.
No, welcome to the show, Reggie. So yeah, you like you mentioned, you hunkered down in that NIL space. So I kind of gave a synopsis and understanding of what NIL is, but like you got kind of mentioned in the intro, we missing the bigger picture, right? I'm talking about NIL as it is just for kids to get deals and start making money early. But like when you say missing the bigger picture, what do you mean by that?
Well, so when we talk about NIL, right? It is a surface level. People talk about it from the standpoint of deals, right? I'm looking at it from the standpoint of revenue, right?
hmm
All these athletes are making revenue. Getting deals. Truth be told, unless you come from a superstar family or you was already an influencer back then, you're not going to get those influencer type deals, but you're still getting revenue within the space. So, how I view NIL is that there's four pieces of it. There's the personal brand side. That is what everybody talk about. You kind of get your you know Chick-fil-A deals and all that stuff like that. And then you have the revenue share, which is what's coming
Mm-hmm.
up with the schools on paying athletes directly, which is what we fought for. So everybody fought for the revenue share. They wanted money. They wanted the schools to share money, right?
Gotcha.
They all the deals and the brand deals was never part of the argument, right? It was the schools are making so much money, we should get a piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was kind of the first argument, which then it turned into the NIL where I can't get a hamburger or I'm ineligible. So then you got personal branding, revenue share, you have your collectives, which is those boosters, those donors who were supporting their school, loving what their school did, right? And they wanted to get the best talent. And then you have athlete IP, businesses, equity, all those deals where now you're talking about a fourth leg of entrepreneurship and business ownership.
Mm. And is
So
that what you like with ProStat, right? Yeah, that's kind of what you guys are looking at, right? That fourth leg of it.
All of it. So all of it makes the ecosystem of NIL, right? So people say NIL as a thing. We look at NIL as a industry, right? So within this industry, these are four things within this industry. But what's crazy is that this whole industry is revolved around one person, the athletes. So it's the athlete, but they control every bucket. So they the stakeholders in the personal branding, they the stakeholders in the revenue share, they stakeholders in the collective space, and they're stakeholders in the entrepreneur side too. So if the ecosystem is the athlete, everything around it is what keeps it up.
so I kind of want to zoom out real quick. So whenever you just talked about like these athletes and the four legs and everything, You said something that I thought was interesting. You talked about a lot of people are generating revenue. And then you also talked about the deals, valuation of deals. And that was something that our post talked about. It was the valuation of deals. Before we get really deep into it, can you explain the difference of like the revenue that's being generated versus these valuation of deals? Because
Right. So
from what I heard, it sounds like they're not actually getting what the deal is valued, and the revenue that's generated is different.
way different. So the revenue is what's allocated, right? So if you look at the professional side, what a professional model, there's a salary cap, there's a structure where athletes receive a percentage of what the team and the league makes, right? Those valuation charts are algorithms and proprietary information that these companies make, and they just say, hey, based on social media following, position, ranking, we're going to say this kid is worth this much money, right? And the reason why you can't follow those things because it's a school by school situation, it's a position by position and market by market, right? And if you look at like Shador Sanders last year and Travis Hunter, all their valuations came from legit endorsement deals. So they wasn't even on the same boat as somebody who's getting a collective check, right? So they were getting brand deals, and their valuation was on the same rankings as somebody who's not getting a brand deal.
Yeah.
So that valuation is great in theory, but those numbers are like the Forbes list. They're like so off as far as like the net worth type situation, right?
It's really just a guesstimate, right? Like they're just taking their educated guess at it, and I could definitely see that with those projections. Because I one of them actually, whenever to pull up, I think the Ryan Williams kid, right, from Alabama. Um, I want to say his deal was rumored to be somewhere around in the millions, and they got his NIL value listed at 2.7.
Right.
So it's not necessarily reflecting. Whereas like the high school kid, he might not actually have any deals right now, but it's just like you said, reflecting based on ranking, which makes sense. So I kind of got a question when it comes to those collective deals, right? So I'm assuming when you're thinking about these players, they the more valuable players, are they getting more from collectives than other players, or is it like a equal distribution?
Well, in NIL and the free market, there's no equal nothing, right? It's either like, are you valuable or are you not, right? And then some of the issues and what we're working on at ProStrat, through our model is how do you truly value an athlete and how you turn a collective and from a free for all donor giving money to an actual business that's generating some revenue and breaking off an athlete from a true revenue deal. So in last year's process, collectives simply, if a kid was really good, they just gave him money. Like it was no structure behind it. It was like, I really love this kid. Cause you gotta think like
Wild Wild West.
collectives, not the Wild Wild West. Collective. So I said it the other day. So like the Wild Wild West is kind of one of them terms that where people have been throwing out because they don't really get it. So I don't want y'all to fall in that trap.
So
But
it's not the Wild. They still got
no,
regulations they gotta follow.
it's still rules now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's a lot of things you still cannot do within the NIL space.
This shit
right?
ain't crypto, nigga.
There's still but it's some people call it the Wild Wild West simply because of the numbers that are being given out. Right?
Gotcha.
And if you have a wealthy donor who's just giving money and they are used to giving this quality of a number because they've been donating to the school, they don't see any difference. So they're just like, oh, well, my school needs this. We want to win games.
Yeah,
500,000.
like Phil Knight with Oregon. Like
Yeah,
I think they said he gave like something like 50 mil worth last year.
and it sounds good in theory, right? But I always ask, and this is how we came up with our system is if these guys are wealthy, they have a business. So why aren't they treating the collective like a business?
Instead of
Right.
philanthropy.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So it was like we should be trying to teach these athletes how to really like, what's your value to my business?
And
Because because collectives were technically supposed to be a business.
that's
But
what
they
I
became a
heard from
charity.
you. That's what I heard from whenever you did the four pillars as well, was a lot of these kids, they not only are becoming college athletes and becoming national faces, they also have to learn how to be a business while still attending school as well.
Yeah, these guys and these girls have managers, they got agents, they got financial advisors. So they're building a team, but they're not operating like a corporation. They're operating like somebody who need their hand held, and
Like an
this is my little
individual.
son, or yeah, that's my nephew. I just love him, right? So they're not running it like a real business. They're running it like I'm getting paid. I'm making money,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
So
Treating it more like they're not even, I guess, not to say just an entertainer, right? Like an artist that has no interest in the business. The same thing, right? They're that athlete, but they don't want to engage in that side of it. But at this point, you almost don't have a choice to
you don't have
whether
a
or not to
choice.
engage in it, because what I think is so great about the way the NIL laws have changed is that it does present that opportunity for those people who have had value to go out and make money. So I know, Reggie, you played college ball. Me and you done talked about that before. Like, it would have been great back in the day. Like, even in high school when you were the dude in your town, if you could have got a little something broken off for promoting or talking about something because you were a recognizable face. I think it's great that, these kids are getting access to this stuff now.
And is
But
that
like
something
when it
that
comes to brokering,
is that something that y'all have seen is starting to trickle down on the high school level, like high school kids starting to work with local businesses, promoting them?
Well, not really local businesses, right? But you'll have companies who come in and want to license the kids NIL with projections of what they're going to make in college, right?
Got you.
So they'll kind of like front them some money, and then take a percentage on the back end when they get to school, right? So
mm,
that's what you start to see too. So it's trickling down, but it's trickling down with a lack of constraint. So it's like if I give you 40K while you're in high school for 20% of your future earnings, these athletes are like,
almost like some loan shark type
yeah,
activity on the
Or
yeah,
cool,
or
because it's
like
like
I hear record label
you
as
just
well.
fronting
Like
them.
I hear like record label
360s.
in my head. That's immediately what I thought about was like you said, a 360 deal, right? Like you don't know too much. You in high school, let me brush you with some bread in the back end. Whenever you get this $2 million deal from Chick-fil-A, I need 20% of that.
20%. And that's how it's looking, So, and they're calling themselves like marketing agents or brand managers, but don't none of these kids have any marketing or any branding going on. So it's
Mhm.
like, what are we actually doing in this space? So the high schools are getting infiltrated. Now Texas isn't. So Texas has a no NIL in high school rule, right? But other states like next door, like the Oklahomas, the Louisianas, the Arizonas, New Mexico, yeah, they wide open.
Yeah, I could see it with Texas because Texas is such a football state that, like, one of the arguments about NIL is that it's bad for sports, right? Because you see in it now that these kids are able to treat it like they're professionals or get paid like professionals at this age. They're saying it's bad for the sport and entertainment. But honestly, when it comes to those people, I really say stop being a fucking hater. That's just my opinion. Like, you really hating on kids for getting paid after we watch people, some of the most talented dudes I'd have never seen play, get put their body on the line and get nothing for it at the end of the
Hmm.
day. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't really think it. Well, my take on it is going to always be I don't think the NIL ruined it. I think it was the lack of education. I think it was the lack of structure. I think
Hmm.
if you give a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid money, they're going to do what 17, 18, 19-year-old kids going to do. And if you're coming from a neighborhood where there's no money and you just made more than probably your street did, like if everybody in your neighborhood averaging 40K a year and you just popped off with 250, you about to go try to take care of everybody,
Yeah,
right? And then
facts.
nobody back home is giving you the structure because they like, hey, we rich. So it's not
Who?
And
the it's
it is
not
not
the
even just that they think that they're rich. They also don't have the structure because they lack the financial literacy. They lack the knowledge because they've never touched that type of paper either.
yeah, and that's the problem, right? So it's not the NIL, it's not any of that. It's simply when you put money inside of hands of people who have no skill sets, what do you expect them to actually do? So it falls back onto the school, it falls back onto the industry, it falls back on the ecosystem who support these stakeholders from that standpoint. Like, how do you equip them? Because even when you sign a loan for school, which most athletes on scholarships don't, you sign a promissory note, you go through counseling, it gives you the rules on you
You
borrow
ain't
this
lying.
money, you pay this money back. So it gives you these rules. But because athletes have never been in a position to even have to do any of that, they're looking at it like scholarships. Like, I'm just getting free money. I'm getting free bread. So for them, it's the money is no different than them getting a stipend or a scholarship, right? It's all the same to them.
It's not business to them.
It's not business to them. It's literally the school just gave me money.
It's
And
still athletics. It's not business. Whenever realistically, and as you saying this, we talking about that environment. Like it really does come back to those four pillars that you shared earlier. Like if they understand the business side of it, if they understand the personal branding side of it, I think it'll help them value themselves better financially. Because like one thing I think as a community, we can share that and say it happens because like when one person gets money, they feel the need to take care of everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
When usually they don't have enough money to really even be taking care of their damn self yet.
right.
But that lack of guidance structure or a framework, that really is where that comes in from. So like with ProStrat, is that one of kind of the areas that you guys are targeting, since like the the people who will be predominantly affected by this are people we're talking about, right? We're talking about a lot of young black men who typically come from underserved communities in a lot of situations.
Yeah. So we built out a revenue system for athletes, right? And it starts at the school because you got to also think too. These universities aren't entrepreneurs, aren't business savvy folks. They're people in education, so they don't know. So they just like, hey, this the rules we're gonna pay, right? So we structure a system for the school to pay the athletes to give them structure and guidance, right? But then we have a framework called Launch Point where we incubate our athletes, right? So we show them how to create a business and how to get paid into your business and then grow your business and become a enterprise and not just an individual, right?
Mm.
So all of our frameworks are simply based around how do we structure and put things in place for every aspect within the system. So you got the school, the athletes, the families, the communities, right? And then you got the outside folks, your auxiliary people, you got your agents, you got the financial advisors, right? How do they map this lane? Because NIL is not the same as NFL, NBA. It ain't the same as I'm doing real estate. It's literally something different because this athlete has four pieces to it. You got assets, a personal brand, you got revenue coming in, and then you have deals. So you can't treat this as this is just real estate. This is just stocks. This is just entrepreneurship. It's literally like a full fledged thing. So we teach everybody who all touch some part of the athlete.
So I got a
And then,
question.
as you're
Whenever
saying,
you
that on the other side of it, you got to
hold
maintain a
on, Dave.
relationship with that person, that stakeholder.
Hold on, David. I also have another question. So, whenever you talk about we teach them how to be a business, are you telling them to create a product or are you telling them to go out and build a service? What does that look like whenever you talk to them about becoming a business? Are they starting to do like speaking events? Like, what does that part look like?
So all of those are the later part, right? So that's like all of your deliverables. When
Hmm.
I'm talking about from the beginning. What is your
Like
foundation?
structure.
What's your structure going to be? What's your corporation going to be? Are you a LLC? Are you an S corp? Are you going to just be you? What are the rules behind that? What's your strategy from how much money will you take into the business? How much will you pay yourself? Who you paying, mama? Like that's the first part. Then it's like, okay, this
Got
is
you.
how I'm taking my money in. Now it's how do I make money? Speaking engagements, apparel, trainings, camps, all those things goes into how you structure an athlete's business. But it starts I'm at the beginning, which is the gate because you're entering in getting paid. You're not creating a business and trying to go build it. Like you entering into getting money off the rip.
Hmm. Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense when you think about the way y'all set it up. Because I'm just thinking about like some of these kids, right? Thinking about if they're getting these $1 million deals and taking it as just an individual, they're really hurting themselves from a tax standpoint, from a
That
tax
was my
planning
next
standpoint.
question too. What are the
Yeah,
tax
they could really
implications on NIL
they
deals
could
as
really
well?
do a lot better if they paid themselves through the business,
Mm-hmm.
and then like you said, had a structure for how these funds are getting dispersed versus as an individual. Shoot, you get $1 million deal, Uncle Sam want 40%.
Dude, I'll even tell you this, right? So an athlete goes to a school in Louisiana, right? Gets paid in Louisiana. He
Hmm.
transfers to a school in Ohio. He gets taxed in Ohio. He leaves Ohio, he goes to Texas. Now Texas don't have no state tax, but you're still going to get taxed in Texas. So, but you're from Cali though, so you get taxed in Cali because that's your home state, and then you're transferred 4 times, getting the NIL bag. You're chasing the bag, and every state you went to, they paid you into your personal name,
So you owe taxes in all 4 of them states.
all 4 states. But you also
Jesus.
getting taxed where you were at. So you're from Cali, but you went to 4 different schools.
So
So
five
yeah,
states.
yeah, 5 states, and exactly. So you're not even really going to see half that money because if you're from Cali, and I'm being extreme saying Cali, I'm California, but Cali taxes is what
Yeah, one of the
Yeah,
highest in the
ridiculous.
so you said so why not form a business in a state that's tax friendly, get paid into your LLC, and every school you go to, if you do decide to go on that transfer route, every school you attend, they pay you into your business. So now it's a B2B and you're at that school for business. You're not at that. I'm at that school to be a student athlete.
So that brings up a great point. I actually saw it was an NFL player. I think it was what's my boy at
Okay.
Washington?
Caleb Williams. That was Caleb
Caleb
Williams.
Williams. He actually he tried to do that with the NFL where he set up an LLC and he wanted to take his NFL money and get it paid into a business versus getting paid as an individual.
Yeah.
The reason why that didn't work is because whenever you work for the NFL, you're actually an employee of the NFL, correct?
Ye- Yep.
Gotcha.
You are an
If he was a
employee.
contractor, then it would have worked.
It works.
And with these NIL deals, everybody is independent
Everybody's a
contractor. Your own
contractors.
business.
But they're trying to
Gotcha.
they're trying to fight for them to become employees, right? And I'm 100% against that. I'm like, it serves no point for the athletes to be an employee of the school, right? I don't care what the school like because like Caleb Williams did. If I want you to pay me through my LLC, I'll determine what my benefits are. I'll determine like what my salary is. I'll determine
Hmm.
versus me working for you and now I'm on your pay scale. I may be in a state where my school is a state school and these are the income limits I have because now I'm an employee and it starts to get real
Murky.
wild, right? Now
Hmm.
it's like, what? Yeah, because then you go say, okay, am I a level one? Am I a level two? Am I a level three employee?
Gotcha.
When I know we already know in the education space they're not really getting paid. So
No.
why would I want to become an
Why, yeah,
employee
why would I want to
of
become an
a
employee of something that's actually getting its funding cut right now? You
yeah.
feel me?
So I'd rather just be a business and do business with my school.
That make a lot of sense. And while we talking about the structure, on the business side, another aspect of it that we actually seen, it was something we shared in the past with a clip of Prime, where he was talking about Coach Prime was talking about
The
how
life
these
insurance.
players should be leveraging insurance so that they can make sure that they're securing their wealth. So like not just life insurance, but also like disability insurance.
Hmm.
I seen an interesting clip. I believe it was Michael Vick was talking about it, saying he get paid like 6 figures a year, where just from like injuries that he sustained during his career. Uh, like, can you speak to that? Because I know you were in the insurance industry. We didn't talk about it with Reggie, but
Yeah.
Reggie knows some stuff, y'all. So like, whenever we talk about how insurance can be used to like impact wealth creation through NIL. What's your thoughts on that?
That's amazing, man, because you gotta look at it 2 ways, right? You get your personal insurance on your personal self,
Hmm.
but then you get business insurance on
Key
your
person
business,
insurance.
right?
Yeah.
Key person insurance, right? So if you're a business, you're the CEO, person insurance, right? But then you get insurance on your person, which is
Your
why I
body.
talked about there's four avenues within the NIL space, right? So you can really insure yourself as the player and then insure yourself as the key person within your insurance, well, within your company. So if you look at it, if you're looking at yourself as a true business, there are many advantages for you to do it that way, on that way. And then Coach Prime is always ahead of the game, man. He always talking about, things that the industry should have been doing because he comes from the outside world,
Mm-hmm.
right? He wasn't brought up in the college ranks where this
He
is
ain't a
just how
part
it
of that
is.
good old boy system.
It doesn't work. It's not a thing, right? So it's like, okay, insurance. Okay, why would I get insurance? And most people probably let's say it. Well, that's only if you die. Well, we already know there's some benefits of insurance while you're
Yeah.
alive, right?
Living
So
benefits.
those are other aspects. Yep. So those are aspects of what our system provides from a structure and the business side is what we offer. Like, hey, these are things you can do right now. You get paid like this.
Because with the living benefits, like let's say you, God forbid, you do get hurt on the field or something happens, like with my boy Hamilton, something happens mid-game to where it's something catastrophic, then you can activate those living benefits. I don't know if they'll possibly fall under the terms of like critical illnesses
Yeah,
or
that
anything like
sound
that.
like critical illness, bro. You had a near death
Yeah,
experience.
so
You
you
know
Yeah.
got
what I'm saying?
critical
Critical
illness. You
chronic.
have the chronic injuries.
Mhm.
So if I work for my company that I own, and I could no longer do my job, that kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm just me and I got injured and I look at it like it's health insurance, and then I'm just going to doctor, right? So
Mhm.
those are the type of things like Affleck that's on the supplemental insurance stuff like that. But there's a whole there's an opportunity for all these young dudes and young girls to take part of in this space if they just shift their mindset from I want to get paid to I want to generate.
Mm.
It's a big that conversation is different.
Nah,
Definitely. I appreciate you
that's a
being
good
part of
that's
the
a good
people on the forefront
conversation,
of that
bro.
conversation. Because I honestly like with what this presents in my mind, this should be a situation where people can genuinely generate wealth in our community. This shouldn't just be something to fund consumer behavior. Like this could be something that really, talking about getting mama and them out the hood and all this type of stuff like that. Or like getting really just getting the basis of generational wealth. Because I feel like right now we at a crossroads. Like it's a real important time. Master P talked about it some years ago, but I feel like it's really happening now. To the middle class is eroding at a rate that we hadn't seen before, and it's gonna just be rich and poor. And if you don't own some shit before 2030, it is really looking like you're gonna be assed out.
Yeah. Ownership, man. That's one of my biggest things. Like own everything, right? Own it all. And not from the standpoint of putting your name on it, but being able to control how it's moving, right?
Mhm.
Like own your name. Like nobody should be able to use your name how they want to, and nobody should be able to say, we're gonna make this image of you like this, right? And then we're gonna not pay you, but we're gonna use something that you do, which is your likeness, right? Like everybody knows certain gestures relate to certain people. So if somebody's trying to like use your name, your image, and your likeness, you got to know what all that means to you to even own that, and then make it a true asset to your business where you can license it out.
That's really good. And one of the things that pop in my mind whenever I'm hearing these things is how does this translate for those athletes that are in the college realm into the pro realm now? Because before going pro, that's whenever you get your big payday, you start to do all of these things. But now they're able to make mistakes and learn how to navigate actually making money at a much earlier age now, that once it comes to the pro level, now these deals, it gets a little bit different. Kind of like with Caleb Williams, talking about, hey, pay me this. Because my thought was, is he doing that because of how he was operating through the NIL? So those are some of the things that kind of pop in my head whenever I hear this conversation.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. You gotta look at, you know, so for instance, like the Peyton Mannings and Eli Mannings of the world. Those type of guys went to the NFL without needing the NFL.
Yes.
So their approach to the game wasn't in a mode of desperation because they already come from money. They already knew how to be rich, right? Now our guys can come in with a sense of I know how it feels to have money, whether it's 50K profit or 500K. You've understood how to get paid and then perform and then increase your revenue. So I think you're going to see a lot more athletes come into the league and play better. Like you're going to see rookies come in the league and perform without the performances, right? Without the extra stuff off the field because they enter the league with a sense of I want to prove that I'm the best, not I'm entering the league to take care of everybody in my family. And you're gonna see that like all that's gonna change. Where you're gonna see a lot of these guys come in a lot more savvy. It's gonna be good football. It's gonna be good hoops. And
Have a lot more Jaden Daniels type players.
yes,
I was
and
hoping
he's
you was
prime
gonna bring
example.
him up,
He's
bro.
prime. He's
That
prime
boy is
example.
something else,
He is
man.
prime example.
David was telling me
Man,
some
Prime
interesting
example.
stuff about him.
Yeah.
David
the
was like
whole
Jaden Daniels, what he does to train, like to watch film, he's doing it through VR. So he's going through his progressions and doing everything like through VR instead of just sitting there watching traditional film. And I got to see it in live action around the Super Bowl. They were showing like different quarterbacks doing their drop steps, going through their progressions. And they were like, "You're the only quarterback to name everybody right." He was like, "Oh, that's Lamar Jackson." Lamar Jackson probably took him the longest to actually say who it was, but like he went through Dak, he went through Joe Burrow, like all the good quarterbacks, but he was like, "Yeah, I watch film." Like it's crazy that now he's able to take that money that he was using and actually input it back into, like you said, his craft and actually wanting to become the best that he can be on the field.
Man, because we know how it works on the business side. You can operate at your highest where you're not chasing money, when you ain't entering it
Facts.
with desperation, right? So a lot of these guys who were first round draft picks in our time were entering the league and just trying to like get money and take care of everybody.
take care of everybody.
So
You ain't
they
never
so,
lied.
so they only thought was I gotta make sure I buy my mom my house. I gotta make sure I do this. I gotta make sure I do that. Most of them are already doing that already, right? Which is good or bad, depending on the situation. But most of them are doing it already. So by the time they enter the league, it's literally I want to be the best, and that's it. That's why LeBron is so good. He was getting paid, well, allegedly getting paid when he was in high school. So by the time he got to the league, bro, I'm just trying to be the best basketball player, and he just kept getting money year after year. So it just shows that if you come in with a lot of those worries off your table, you can really not become a bust
Mm.
in so many
Like,
words.
like I feel that. I feel that. Going back to some psychology stuff. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If all your basic needs and all that's taken care of, you're not in panic mode, survival mode. You're really able to achieve that actualization. Like, really, you can realize that potential.
Oh yeah,
You brought up a valid point. I never really thought about a lot of those busts that we have had. How much of those external pressures actually played a role in them becoming the bust that we call them, because they just couldn't manage. So yeah, this has been an interesting conversation, bro.
I appreciate
Definitely,
it.
I see the path forward, and I see how ProStrat is playing a role in that. So just for anybody that they may be an athlete that's listening, how can they get involved with ProStrat, or like somebody that got a kid or a family member that might be bubbling up on their area?
Yeah, so what we building now, man, with ProStrat and our Athlete RevOps, man. If y'all want to just get more information, just DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Reggie Calhoun Jr. is all the same.
Can
We're
you explain the difference between ProStrat and Athlete RevOps
Yeah.
just for
So
those?
so ProStrat is the parent company, and
Hmm.
then Athlete RevOps is our actual operation system. So
Gotcha.
it's how we operate the athletes and their revenue. So we put all the plan together through the Athlete RevOps.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Reggie, bro, we appreciate you for stopping on. Do you got any
Definitely
hot
appreciate
takes?
you
You got
joining us.
anything you want to share before we let you go?
Man, tell these people, man, I'm like really a visionary. We talked about Chat GPT. We talked about, the NIL
I will give you that, bro. You definitely be on the forefront.
Reggie is a visionary. I gave him his
and
flowers
on the
before.
cusp of
I gotta
things.
give him his flowers while we on screen, on camera. Man, Reggie was the first brother I met. I said it about the college, but he was the first person to introduce me to the concept of generative AI for business use.
Yeah, he been telling
And
us, hey, y'all
also
need to use this for BWR for the longest.
for the longest. I mean, one of the first people I know that mentioned it and showed me how it worked. Not just told me how it worked, but showed me how it worked. And then also on the NIL front, definitely been a trailblazer. Been one of the people pushing the envelope forward for years
Man,
now.
he's the go-to
I'm glad
guy.
that we had the ability to be acquainted with you, man. We can't talk about all what you do, but
Yeah.
that man do a lot of good stuff in the community, man. He really helping these athletes in real life every day. That's really what I want to get across.
All I'm gonna say is Google him, and you say he's one of the people. I'm gonna say he's the person to go to for NIL, man. He's that guy. If you need some help, if you want to understand the landscape, go to Reggie Calhoun Jr. He'll take care of you. My brother has been solid since the day we met him, honestly.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. But last take, if y'all look at the Luka trade and think about it from the business side, it was definitely a 5-10 year deal that went down. So Dallas wanted to buy now. Lakers bought for 10 years, but the league won for the next 5 years because now it shook up who's on what team and all those things. So from a league side and the commissioner side, that Luka trade, it made sense. But from a fan side, I was like, dang, bro, what's up? But from the business side, and this is what all this is all of his business. A lot of these guys, they're gonna reap the benefits of Luka getting traded to the Lakers in the next 5 years.
Hey, okay,
man.
I'm not mad at that.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't believe in the Luka Doncic hype. That's just me though. That's a
Bro,
that's a
you
personal
sleep.
thing. I think Luka.
I need a call.
Man, listen, dog. The NBA is boring because of them white boys like Luka and Jokic over here
Wow.
doing that lazy ass hooping, bro. I want to see
Lakers just blew out who the Lakers
bang, bro.
Lakers
I'm
just
tired
blew
of this
out Denver.
weekend.
Nuggets.
Yeah, Lakers just blew out Denver last night, bro. Like by 6 points.
By 6 points?
26 points, fool.
Oh, I was like, what the hell?
No.
That ain't no blowout. That's a close game.
That's crazy. But nah, man, all this stuff is cool, man. The NBA is gonna come back. They're gonna shake back.
I just think the game got to get a little bit more physical, man. That's just my thing. Like I don't like the crybaby-ness. I'm not a big NBA watcher. I'm more of a football guy.
I actually saw Bloomberg post.
I guess I'm too football minded, bro. I just want to see, people go at it, bro.
I actually saw Bloomberg post something about the NBA yesterday or day before yesterday. They were talking about the conversation me and you was having, David, how they're too analytical now. And I think really that's what ruined the NBA is the analytic driven side of it.
On efficiency.
Yeah, they'll focus on the efficiency. They let a lot of nerds into the game, into the back office. Sorry, you nerds need to get the fuck. I'm sorry, dog.
Give me back my long fadeaway two from the post, man. I need a post up long fadeaway two. I don't care if it's inefficient. It's good basketball.
Hey, we gonna see that. We gonna see a lot of them boys playing real basketball soon. Hopefully,
Hopefully
we start putting some real stuff to pavement. That's good, man. I appreciate y'all for sure.
Appreciate you,
Reggie, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we ain't gonna take up too much more of your time tonight, man. We'll let you drop off, and we're gonna continue the show. We got a few more topics we want to get into.
Reggie, appreciate you again, brother.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
All right.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Yes, indeed. Definitely, guys, if you are in that space, Reggie is the guy. Like
Shout
Jalen
out to my
said,
guy Reggie, man.
get with him. Shout out to Reggie Calhoun, man. Reggie Calhoun Jr.
Yes,
So
sir.
moving into the next topic, man. So another big topic this week that we discussed was the cost of living. And it brought about a question that I feel like you and I should discuss, man. And I want to get your take on this. Is the average person living above their means?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. I'm saying yes. So
You saying yes?
yes.
I
I can tell you why I feel like
I
that.
want to disagree with you, but I also say yes, my niggas.
I can tell you why I feel like that, bro.
But
Once again,
okay, all right. Let's get into it, and yeah, we'll go to. So all right,
okay.
let me just talk about what we talked about first. So right, this week we shared a report from Smart Asset regarding the cost of living for a single person to live comfortably, in every state in the United States. And we also reported on this a year ago in 2024, and we seen a drastic increase of about roughly like 20 to 40,000 per state, between 2023 and 2024 survey by Smart Asset, right? So the national average went from being about 50K to about 89K, while the
Sheesh.
median salary is still around $60,000 a year. So, just for example's sake, to give a specific one, in 2023, a single person in Texas could live comfortably for a little over 50K a year. In 2024, that number ballooned up to $87,000.
Jesus.
Now, just to give a little final context to it, what is living comfortably, right? The living comfortably in this survey is being defined as being able to live on the 50-30-20 budget as a single person. The breakdown on that is 50% to necessities, 30% to your discretionary spending, and then 20% for savings and investments.
So 50% the necessities, that's your housing, your cars, utilities, all of that.
Yes, sir. Grocery, all
Gotcha.
that stuff like that, right? Like
And
those are
then
the what you need to live, and then 30% on discretionary, which personally I think that's a bit high.
mhm.
But again, it's defining as living comfortably. Like if you can spend 30% of your income on discretionary things, I think that is a pretty comfortable means of living. Especially if you're if you're thinking it's okay to spend 30% and only save and invest 20 uh on just like having fun and kicking it, I think that's a very comfortable life. I think that's not thinking too hard about investing aggressively for your future.
But yeah, what were you saying about living, investing for your future? You feel like 20% isn't enough?
No, I feel like whenever we're talking about living comfortably, like by the definition of this, a 50-30-20
hmm
budget, some people would say you don't need this much to live comfortably, but I could see that as the this as being defined as living comfortably. If you feel like you can spend 30% of your income on like just frivolous things for
hmm
lifestyle purposes and invest 20%. Like you're placing a bigger allocation toward enjoyment than you are toward your future, which
Gotcha.
I'm not saying everybody has to be the same. But I'm more so of the mindset, let's invest a little bit more aggressively toward my future.
Gotcha. Facts. Yeah. Because actually it was someone I was listening to. I don't remember the show or the podcast. But they were like, if you think about it, if you're only saving 10 to 20% of your savings, whenever you retire, instead of the full income that you're living off of, you have to reduce your lifestyle to 20 to 15% of what you had because of what you saved in your younger years.
Mm-hmm. Because like that's an aspect of it we don't think about. Like we set our lifestyles, right?
hmm
And that again, that goes to kind of the conversation we having. Like, is everybody living beyond their means? And we both said we on the side of, yeah, we do believe that most people are outside of their means. Now just addressing the elephant in the room, yes, wages are a problem, right? The average person making $60,000 a year, but it being defined to live comfortably at around 89,000. Obviously, there's a shortfall there that
I was
needs
about
to
to
be
say, where the hell
addressed.
is this money coming from?
Yeah, there's a shortfall that needs to be addressed, right? So maybe that's not living comfortably if you having 60K a year, right? But again, I think to the point Jalen just made, lifestyle plays such a role in it. And I want to kind of break down how I think we got here. Cause I think it all really goes back to that 2020 pandemic era. Like a lot of bad habits were formed during that era.
Quantitative easing.
Yes, quantitative easing made everybody think shit was sweet, for lack of a better word. Like people, everybody had money. It's like kind of a joke that everybody makes about COVID. Like everybody
Yeah.
had money during
It
COVID,
wasn't no
but that's
pandemic.
actually,
It was a bandemic.
yeah, and it wasn't actually a joke. Like data from the St. Louis Fed shows that like during that time, the savings rate had been the highest it had been since they had started tracking the data in the
At
60s.
15.21%, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like it was 15%. That so like whenever we talk about the savings rate, this is savings compared to the income you made that year. So on average, people in 2020 were saving 15% of their income, which was a huge
Mm-hmm.
regression from the mean. Like on average, the years prior, people were saving anywhere between 5 and 10%, not even 10. Like I would really say more than like 3 to 7% of their income. And then during that year, you seen it skyrocket, and then it started whipsawing right back down in the years following. But
Okay,
what that
before you get into that, I kind of want to talk about paint the picture of why that was so high, right? Um, so people are staying in because of the pandemic. We're not going out as much, right, at that moment. A lot of states are on
Mhm.
lockdown, so you're not able to spend a lot of money. Two, there's a moratorium on rent. You don't have to pay your rent. Rent is people's largest living expense. So now if you don't have to pay your rent, you keeping most of your money in your pocket anyway. Uh, Three, you're also getting extra money. A lot of people are getting extra money from the government too, right? Uh,
unemployment and PPP
yeah,
went crazy.
unemployment and PPP. Some people were getting more money through unemployment than they were getting through their actual jobs. And then a lot of people also got these PPP loans. They didn't have any actual legitimate businesses. They did some fraudulent, illegitimate claims, and they pocketed a lot of money. So now, once again, you got this influx of cash. So of course you're not going to be spending as much as what you were making because now you're just sitting on this large surplus.
Exactly. And that what that did was, right, everybody realized they were sitting on cash. And when the world opened back up, people went crazy.
And
Because
I'm gonna
also,
say that like it depends on what state you were into because we know living in Texas during that time, Texas was
but
open for
no,
business.
I'm saying like even not even like just like that. When I say outside like that, I mean like when the economy opened back up. Like
Gotcha.
whenever people got off of COVID pandemic guidelines around like the end of 2021, beginning of 2022,
Hmm.
when the world really opened back up and we started getting back to kind of a sense of normalcy, uh that's whenever I think people went crazy, because during the time of that lockdown, I think an aspect that really played a role into it is social media. Everybody has social media and we were all on social media,
Yep.
and people had nothing to do, so you started seeing a lot of people get into and creating content, which exposed so many people to lifestyles that were unsustainable. Me and Jalen, we joke about it all the time. During COVID, people was eating crab balls and
It was doing doing
going
all
get
kind of
on
crazy
trips to
stuff, bro.
Miami.
Oh
And
yeah,
like
Miami was a
people was
destination.
outside, bro. People was definitely moving around during COVID.
I'm gonna use my sister as an example. This heifer went to Miami, I think 2 or 3 times during the pandemic. I don't
Because
think
the
she
flights
been.
were cheap.
I don't think she been to Miami since, bro. I ain't hear about her taking a trip since, nigga.
Bro, whatever people was taking them $80 flights to Miami, bro. They was going crazy. But but that's because everybody was locked away for so long. Demand fell, so they just started lowering the price in hopes to attracting people to come out, right? So the natural cycle of economics occurs where
Supply and
at
demand.
one point supply was way too high, demand was too low. Now it flips. Demand is
It's
at
super
a
high.
all-time high because the world just opened back up. Everybody got this money they didn't save. They trying to go enjoy life, all the things that they didn't seen. And now I think we've gotten to a point and we reached a crossroads where, and this is why I think most people are living above their means. People see so much and are exposed to so much that they think that this is the lifestyle that they should live, when in all reality, people 20, 30 years ago were happier with less consumption. They didn't need to consume as much to be happy.
Okay,
And I
pause.
think
Before
that's
before we get
why.
into the lifestyle, you just said something I kind of do want. Do you said this is the lifestyle that they feel like they should live? I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like we should live great lives. We should be able to travel, but with the way that the world is set up, nigga, we working way more than we're able to enjoy a lot of things. So if anybody is saying, yo, I should have these things, I should be able to do this, why the heck do I have to work so much just to afford the bare minimum, like a 1 bedroom apartment? Why am I paying $1,800 for this? Why am I paying $2,000 for a 1 bedroom apartment? That's crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm on that side. I'm on the side of some of these things should not be as expensive as it is. You shouldn't have to work your bone, your fingers to the bone to where you can only get by with the bare necessities. I'm on that side of things. But
Now I get that side of that
yeah.
argument, but again, even with that side of that argument, that's a trap that we fall into a lot of times, right? I think about it like the poor man's trap when it comes to investing, that poor person's mindset about investing. Whenever you're living and you're working so hard and your reality is so tough, you want to escape. And sometimes those escapes aren't necessarily like the most beneficial thing for your long-term future. Like like I could give you, I could tell some dude in the hood, hey bro, or like I could tell a dude, let me not just say in the hood, dude making a little bit of money, right? He might make $15 an hour. Hey bro, he talking to me about this parlay. He trying to make a flip on this parlay. He understand this, you know what I'm saying? If Saquon Barkley run for 100 and score 2 touchdowns, I'm gonna make $150 off of $3. That sounds logical and reasonable to them.
You right.
But if I told you, hey bro, you take that same money that you was gonna put into this bet, because the thing is with these bets, you don't hit every time. You lose more times than you win because it's set up for the house to win, right?
If
So
you
you
tell them
don't hit
take
every
that
time,
same
but every time that you lose, every time you lose, that's money that could have been put away to been invested. But it's just not the same mentality. They don't feel like they have the time for it to let it grow. They don't feel like they had that time. So I mean, I get the mindset that, man, this stuff shouldn't be so high. But at the same time, if this is our reality and this is what we have to deal with, what are we gonna do to deal with that reality? What can you do internally as a person to make sure that either you're increasing your income by improving your skill sets and making certain sacrifices for your lifestyle in the short term, or you're cutting down on your lifestyle? Which one of these things is going down? Because I think is if we can acknowledge that it's so expensive to live right now, we should also be able to acknowledge that we got to tone it down a little bit. We can't do the same shit we was doing in 2020 and 2021. And even though it may not be ideal, it may not be what you want. Somebody might say, "Oh, that's like a lack mentality." That if you don't increase your income in the short term, let's be fucking real. What are you gonna do? Are you just gonna keep doing what you're doing? Because right now we see one of the things I wanted to point out. One of the statistics that's noted is that, like, as of Q4 2024, American credit card debt hit a record $1.2 trillion. So
Jesus
in combination with that, right, Jalen, the savings rate has also
fell
dropped.
down. I know
It's
it.
down below 3% now. So
Sheesh.
so the savings rate is below 3%. Credit card debt's at an all-time high. We don't have the fucking money. Stop spending it. You don't have it.
Sheesh.
Either you cut down your lifestyle or you increase your skills to go and get what you
Increase
want.
more money.
But it's
Yeah.
gonna require some sacrifices from one point or another.
But even if you do increase your skills, I think that still puts you in the trap of you now that you do have larger money that you're able to generate, right? Now you want shinier, larger objects that you want to go get. Now instead of you getting this type of car, you want to go upgrade to a G-Wagon, or you want to go get this thing, or you want to go live in a high rise, or you want to go get these type of shoes or whatever. So I think at the end of the day, it does boil down to that mindset piece that you were just talking about, like changing up the way that you're doing things, making sure that you're saving your money, making sure that you're setting yourself up for success, making sure that you're investing your money. I think that all of that plays into it. It definitely becomes a trap if you just be like, oh, I just need to make more money. Sometimes the answer isn't just making more money. It is a lot of the times you do need to make more money. Making more money definitely
But
solves a
if
lot of
you,
things.
like you
But
said,
it's
if
that
you just
mindset piece.
if you're a spender by nature,
Yeah.
if all you gonna do is make the money to spend it, you're gonna be in the same situation you was in before you made the more money.
Making $60,000 while you're making 120.
You know, like if you are not able to evaluate your budget, and I think that could just be something honestly, right? I think everybody should at the bare minimum either use our budgeting spreadsheet or download some type of app to where you're keeping track of your finances. Looking at that shit frequently instead of like you should be looking at this on a more consistent basis. For me personally, I'm the type I check on this at least once a week where I'm looking through my transactions, looking through my budget and where I'm at on my budget to make sure I'm on track with these things. Because in this time, we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional. I've shared with everyone I'm saving to buy a house. It's a lot of stuff that I typically would do that I'm not doing right now. It's stuff that when I grilled earlier today, I made sure that like I'm keeping my grocery bill low. I cooked the gumbo at work and had everybody buy all the stuff, and I saved some of the meat from that. So you go ahead, you know what I'm saying? Make sure I can eat for the next week. Like I'm serious. We need a. It's not being cheap. It's not being lack. It's being times are what they are. I need to make the wisest decision now for the future instead of thinking about how I can enjoy right now.
That's good. I ain't gonna lie. Uh, I want to say one more thing. You're talking about like, I guess people and the way that they're spending. One of the reasons why I say I agree that people are living above their means. So being that with work, right? So sometimes I'll go set up at a Walmart and I'll sell memberships. There's this one guy, one of the Walmarts that I work at. He's a door greeter. uh Little bro, me and him be talking because I go sit up there pretty recently. I mean pretty often. And he recently started asking me about like how he could start saving and everything like that. And little bro told me, I was like, bro, well, first, once again, it all starts with the mindset, but you can start off by doing, 10% or whatever. He was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to save
Pay
up to get
yourself
me.
first. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
He's like, bro, I want to save up to get me a car. Cause right now I'm paying Ubers to get to work. He's like, so that's my first thing. And he said something to me. He was like, he made some type of joke, but he said, "Yeah, the only assets I got is these on my feet." And he was talking about some Balenciaga shoes. And in my head,
Oh my God.
I'm like, bro, why the fuck do you have on Balenciaga shoes?
I hope them hoes was fake. I hope they were from DH Gate.
I don't know, bro. Bro was like, yeah, these my assets, and I was like, bro, first off, that's not assets. Those are depreciation assets. You can't even get what you paid for this, like the original value of what you paid for that. Like you got to change your mindset to what you think about actual money is. But I said that to say he's not the only person that I saw wearing designer shoes and be designer down while working there. They got one of their team leads, bro, be in Dolce and Gabbana, Gucci shades and everything. I'm just like,
But that goes back to that thing, man. Shout out to Tim Jackson, man. He said it one time, and that shit stuck with me, man. We like to show money, we don't like to grow money.
I'm telling you,
And
man.
and that mentality is I think culturally,
The
right? From a black
antithesis
culture
of building
standpoint,
wealth.
exactly that. It's like you your own biggest op as long as you feel the need to show that you got something to everybody. And I get it. If you never had nothing for the longest, the first time you touch something, the first time you touch a little paper, it feel like you got something. It feel like, man, I should go get me something. I deserve this. But the man who can keep his head down and keep working, always gonna come out further.
I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I think that also, I think that's just human psychology because I've been on this health journey, been this weight loss journey. Past 3 weeks, I lost 8 pounds, and this week,
Shout out. You know what I'm
appreciate you,
saying?
bro. This weekend, I ain't gonna lie. Like whenever I saw how much I lost last week, I was like, bro, man, I'm about to have me a good cheat day or whatever. But in all actuality, that's counterproductive to the goal, right? Like me having this cheat day, me feeling like, oh, I worked so hard. Now let me go mess off, let me go eat something that I want. Yeah, life is about balance, but that's not helping me get to my goal. Like if I go bust up, go crash out, go get me some cookies. I ain't gonna lie, I did give me some Great American cookies, but I didn't eat all of them. Even today, like I was craving barbecue. I've been craving it for the past few weeks. But whenever I started fixing my plate, I was like, you know what? Instead of getting a whole leg quarter, let me just get a leg. Instead of getting a whole hot link, let me get a half a hot link. Let me get half of this rice dressing. Let me not crash out. I can still enjoy what I want. I can have tastes of it, but I don't have to go for the gusto, eat this carved out plate, eat up all of this food just because I felt like I worked so hard and I need to get that.
Mm. I love that. And like taking that and turning it back to what we was just talking about with finance is the same concept. It's like, yeah, you work hard for your money. Like we was talking about, you work your fingers to the bone. You feel you deserve nice things, but what's the cost of those nice things? Not what like the actual cost is now, but
Not the
what's the
price.
cost?
What
What's
does it
the
cost you in the future?
what does it cost you in the future?
There's a difference between the price and the cost, right? The price is this what you had to pay, but the cost is damn. I just spent $300 on these shoes. Now I'm $300 short for whatever my financial goal was.
You still on feet because you keep buying J's instead of saving 250 a month
I'm
toward a
telling
cash car.
you, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
So
and speaking of that, I guess like just that's another thing, I guess. If we talking about ways that you can evaluate and save, I've been a big advocate for that for years. Don't finance any cars right now. I think that's the number one wealth killer, especially for black people. Black people
facts.
like to finance
I
luxury
paid off my
cars.
truck
I
in this
financed a
in
luxury
November.
car.
I paid off my truck
Hey,
in November.
shout out.
That's been the greatest feeling ever, bro. I ain't gotta worry about that truck note no more. Man, that shit feels amazing.
Bro,
And I
bro,
ain't
I've
going
always
back.
been a cash card person, and I've only did cash cards until I financed that car for Turo. Now the car did get totaled, everything worked out, but like it's a money trap, bro.
Oh, they finally
You
closed
know,
your shit, man. They finally got
uh,
you all situated.
Copart still got to get the car from IAA,
Coparts.
but
Oh, I was about to say Copart still ain't got it, but if IAA got it, that's still I got you.
the process was long, but we seeing it through. I'm saying
Got
like
you.
that.
Okay.
But no, like when it comes to again financing those types of
Financing.
cars,
Mhm.
anybody that bought a car in 2021 probably is underwater on their vehicle
Shit, a
by
car
a
or a
lot.
house.
By a lot. Well, depending on where you bought the house at. But you probably underwater by a significant margin, and you just don't want to continue to put yourself in that situation, especially if you could do something like lease instead or save up and buy a cash car.
Mhm.
Save and people will say, man, I don't want no '05 Honda Civic or nothing like that. But man, some of these cars be good cars. You just got to take them for
I ain't
what it
gonna lie.
is.
I wouldn't tell you get your '05 Honda Civic, but you go get your
Bro, you could get a
2015.
2015 for
Yeah, I was about to say you could get your
like 7, 8 bands
2015.
now. You know what I'm saying? Though,
Yeah.
like 10-year-old cars, you get them for like 7, 8 bands. Like that. That's a realistic save up goal
Yeah.
versus going and waiting or like taking 3 bands and going finance something for the
Facts.
next 7, 8 years.
Facts. Because man, that definitely it just hinders you so much because once again, you got the car note, but then a vehicle is going to have problems. There's wear and tear on vehicles. So now you got the finance, you got a car note that you finance, you got insurance. Insurance is constantly going up as well. And then you got the issue of if I have a mechanical breakdown or I got to replace these parts or whatever like that. You got to think about all of those things. Having no car note helps you so much more. Man, whenever I paid off my truck, I wanted to play that Merry Man. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I'm telling you, boy, that
Yes, indeed.
greatest thing ever. I ain't going
So
back either.
to kind of put a to kind of put a bow on that one, right? We both believe yes, people are living above their means. So if you out here and you thinking, man, times is tight, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna adjust the way you living, or are you gonna adjust your means?
Yeah, especially with these trade wars, especially with tariffs and everything like that. It's a lot of things for you, a lot of uncertainties that are going down right now. So I just feel like it's the best for you to position yourself for success. Make sure that you're able to live below your means, have some extra
Yes,
cash
indeed.
saved to the side. That way you can be ready for whatever happens.
Yes, indeed. And I'm glad you mentioned trade wars because it's actually a war that we kind of referenced on our first episode back that we
Hmm.
want to talk back and double back on. And that is like one of the things that's actually at the center of the trade war. And that's the AI arms race, the AI
The
war.
Star Wars.
Yeah, the war for AI dominance, man. And like uh a couple weeks back, whenever we came back out, we talked about AI briefly, and
Hmm.
you and I were sharing about some of the developments.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems, from establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
And as we were talking about it, thinking about, how can people profit from this AI war, right? Because right now the United States and China are in a war for dominance over artificial intelligence. It's pretty much out there in the open. We I think on the last episode we talked about DeepSeek, this AI model, and how it threatened ChatGPT and OpenAI.
Hmm.
So this has been a open battle for domination over who can make the best chip the fastest. So we just kind of want to dive back into these chips some more because this is probably the most critical piece of technology that we've
That's
had
happening
developed
right
over the
now.
last century.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said that's like happening right now.
Yeah, like it's probably the most critical technology we've had in the last century, and the way that which this has grown and impacted society and will continue to do so, is very important. And with the war going on, that means that these countries are spending money, and where the countries are spending money, that means there's opportunity for you to make money. So yeah, just kind of getting into it, right? Um, with these whole chips, these chips. Jalen, you kind of gave a history lesson on chips last time, right? Just slightly.
Yeah, but not as in depth on here, but I can go into it if you want me to right here.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So yeah, the history of chips, the introduction, like back in the early 20th century, was the transistor. It fueled the advancement of the regular phone. They went from rotary phones to like more digital phones. Um, and then after that, they went from those small transistors to actually creating microchips. which is a series of transistors on an individual chip, which lowers the cost and increases the efficiency within that, right? Because now instead of just having one single transistor, you got more transistors, which able to communicate, all of that stuff, right? I'm not gonna bore y'all out with all the tech stuff. But since then, since the 1960s, I forgot the name of this, and I was supposed to look it up. So it's a word for this, bro, where they're like technology is going to
Oh,
keep
Moore's
on
law. Moore's law. It's Moore's law.
Moore's law, yes.
Yeah.
And it's basically where technology is going to keep on doubling. And it becomes cheaper to produce technology. It gets faster and it gets better. You kind of see it with TVs now, right? Back whenever flat screens first got introduced, they were super expensive. They were bulky. They were
Heavy.
big, heavy. Now you go to once again, working at Sam's Club, bro. I just walked past a TV, a 75-inch for $499.
Yeah, that
You
would
know
have
how much
been a
that TV would have?
$2,000 TV.
$5,000. A
And
75-inch?
and it would have required 3 or 4 people to help mount it. Whereas
Exactly.
this one is probably like light enough for one individual to pick up.
I probably wouldn't say that just because of how awkward and how big it is. But yeah. But once again, Moore's law
Weight
says,
wise.
yeah. Moore's law says that, technology will continue to increase, become more efficient, become cheaper to produce, cheaper to manufacture as things start to go. So since the 1960s, the computing power of chips have efficiently doubled every few years, which is unheard of. For reference, if this was the speed of planes, we would have manufactured. I'm sorry, if this was the speed of planes that we manufacture right now, planes would be able to fly at the speed of light if it was to progress at the same rate of technology and the way that these chips are being manufactured. So it went from 1 to 2 transistors on chips. Now you got things like Apple Silicon, where there's millions and billions of transistors. So it went from single transistors to things like Apple Silicon, where now you have these new chips, these new microprocessors that are able to have millions and billions of transistors within one single chip, right? This allows these things to become more efficient, to disperse power better. I'm sorry, betterly is not a word. It allows it to,
Periodically wrong time.
yeah, it allows them to do things more efficient because now they have more transistors. They're able to communicate faster and those type of things.
Yeah. And right, and that stuff is so important because with those transistors, like Jalen's mentioning, it's allowing the ability for things to process data. So this is like the key and the driving force behind the generative AI that we were talking about a little earlier with Reggie, and a lot of the AI tools and software that are being developed that people are currently in the arms race for, that is kind of revolutionizing this information age that we're in. These transistors allow for the production and processing of so much data. That's why like companies like Nvidia were ahead of the game, because originally, right, a lot of the major chip manufacturers were, so let's just kind of get into that, right? There are 3 major chip manufacturers today, right? Today there's the Taiwanese semiconductor company, TSMC. They control about 65% of the market. You got Samsung at 9.3 and Intel, which has about 5% of the market. Those are like the big 3 players, and then they have a couple other smaller ones, right? In terms of manufacturing, Intel was one of the manufacturers that blew up because these chips in the 90s, they were being used for PCs, right? They were one of the first ones to get on that wave.
It was
And the
actually
reason,
Intel and Texas Instruments were 2 of the big chip manufacturers back in like the
so I
90s
think
and the
Texas
80s.
Instruments actually made the first microchip, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is Texas Instruments.
So Texas Instruments made the first one, and then Intel saw the
Like
technology as
they
like
refined the
revolutionary,
process.
and like they were like, "Yo, this can be used for personal computers," and that's that whole wave. But where Nvidia came in, right? They started making these chips for companies, well, for gaming systems, because like in the early 2000s, the gaming systems was really the big war that we seen on the technological front. Computers had kind of got like to a point where they were getting better, but they weren't like it wasn't like it was making leaps and bounds like these
Yeah.
gaming systems.
Mhm.
And that required a lot of processing power with these microchips.
You want me
So
to say what's
Nvidia,
crazy about Nvidia and gaming systems? If
what?
you load up a old Xbox, Nvidia's logo is in that
Yeah, that's one of the reasons Nvidia was one of the first companies I invested in. I
Mhm.
had an old Xbox when I first started investing, and it I remember seeing it. And one of the first lessons I learned about investing was invest in companies that you use.
Mm.
So I'd invested in Microsoft. I seen the Nvidia logo, so I invested in Nvidia. Like these were things that just and hindsight's 2020. I would have never guessed Nvidia would have seen the growth it did
You're
because
right.
nobody saw AI coming the way it came. Like, well, not anybody that was on my radar at least, right? So the reason we're going over all these companies, right, is because these are ways that we can profit off of this
The
supply
AI
chain.
wars, yeah.
And Nvidia, they are now one of the dominating forces in the market behind it because the GPUs and the microchips that they were developing for gaming systems just so happen to have the capability and processing power to run generative AI and large learning models. So
Generative
now
AI, they're using that for crypto mining as well. They use it for a lot of computing processing.
and so now we got a situation where this is a technology that everybody wants, right? And Nvidia is at the center of it. It's if I believe by estimations, Nvidia controls anywhere between 80 to 95% of the AI chip market on like the actual sales side of it. So
Damn.
like that's
So manufacturing,
whenever you
they're
think about
65% manufacturing, but sales side, they're
yeah,
dominating at
'cause-
80 to 95%.
yes, because Nvidia was one of the only ones who had a chip with the processing power to do what was needed at that time. Like so Nvidia expanded their business over the years, right? They got into the auto industry before the AI thing was even big because cars they have a lot of
Mm.
microprocessors and stuff now too. So Nvidia had been growing its business for years, and then it just so happened that that perfect storm of AI becoming the hot new thing and the supply chain becoming condensed and driving prices up because of the pandemic and stuff.
Mhm.
Nvidia made bank over these last few years, and
Once
now
again,
they're
and
still one of the
crypto was
biggest in the
so
market.
hot during the pandemic too. Once again, people are buying these GPUs to mine Bitcoin, mine Ethereum, and everything as well. So, like you said, that perfect storm, it just they're able to really. I wouldn't say I say they were able to kind of predict the future, bro.
On the cool, like it. But that's definitely a company. Like whenever we're looking at this stuff, that we talking about profiting from the AI war. If you already aren't invested in Nvidia, that is something that you should look into.
And
If
they
you're a
got
person
earnings
like,
coming up
especially if
this
you
week
you're
too.
like us,
Nvidia's
um,
earnings is this week too. So something
it's
to
one of
watch.
those companies that's definitely like a good hold for the next 5 to 10 years, especially with the way AI is predicted to continue dominance. I know, you might see some pessimists say that, this is another bubble, but I don't think with the way governments are propping this up that this will be something that pops as long as
So something
actual
interesting about
money
Nvidia.
runs into it.
Something interesting about Nvidia. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so now, they actually had like you know how Apple does their event. They had some type of event where they unveiled new chips, but they also unveiled a model for training like cars, their AI model. So instead of training them on actual roads, what they did was they mapped out the roads and now they I forgot what they called it, but basically it's like VR training these cars, right? So they're putting a
Whoa.
lot of data within like a sandbox or whatever, if
They're
you will.
giving
Like
they're giving the cars the Jaden Daniels experience.
yes, and they're putting it in a sandbox experience where it's not actually taking place on the road, but they're doing it where it's mapped out in scale, and now they're able to learn and become better with their AI compatibility and their AI capabilities.
It's almost like it's getting mental reps for the AI instead of actually
Yes.
putting it out there on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's very interesting, right? So, guys, again, as we've stressing, this is technology that's going to revolutionize things over the next 5 to 10 years of our lives. We're going to continue to see this play a more and more larger role in a lot of the technology that we interact with on a daily basis. So, kind of just getting into it, right? Why are the U.S. and China battling for this? Obviously because it's a very powerful technology, but with that, it creates, kind of getting to this whole trade war concept, some of the big concerns and things that are at the front of that are one of the things we just mentioned, right? The TSMC, right? Taiwanese Semiconductor Company, right?
You ain't got to
So,
say that damn long ass name all the time. Just say TSMC.
hey man, I was already stumbling on TSMC, so I just said fuck it, we're gonna stumble all the way through. But no, yeah, with TSMC, man, they're in Taiwan, right? So they
Hmm.
actually, obviously, they have proximity to China,
They actually
and
like right off the coast of China.
yeah, so there's the very real threat of China wanting to overtake Taiwan.
Actually, they got history. The history with China is that Taiwan used to be a part of
Yeah,
their government, and then during their what is that? The war within the country. Why I can't think of a
a civil
revolution.
war.
Yeah, during their civil war. So there is the Federation of China. I forgot. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not
They
gonna
were
bring
like
that.
the Republic of China, I
Yeah,
want to say, right?
there's one of them is the Republic of China and one of them is the Federation or whatever. But basically, they broke off. They kind of like lost the war. Mainland China won. They took over, and being that Taiwan to China is like the last thing that they want to conquer. They want to get them back into the cusp of actual, the full
Mainland
federal,
China.
yeah,
Yeah.
mainland China. They want to get them back. So whenever we talk about the proximity and China deciding to invade Taiwan, that's the reason because they want Taiwan to complete them, but also they'll be able to control the chip market once they have them under their control.
Yeah. And that, again, like we just mentioned, they have 65% of the production there. So that's one of the really real threats facing them. But because of the global nature of these chips, it is hard to say that, like, even if China were to invade them, that they would be able to
Produce
stop
everything.
the
Yeah.
production or sharing of it with the United States, because a lot of the actual designing is done in the United States. A lot of those machines are located in Silicon Valley. So the manufacturing side of it, right, where the chips are made, is actually in over there, right, in
In
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Hmm.
But a lot of this stuff happens all over the globe. So I actually have a clip that I wanted to share, where a guy just kind of breaks down that supply chain, just because it will clearly put it in a minute versus instead of me kind of just giving you guys an idea.
Yeah. Play that shit, man. Play me some pimping.
Like, let me see. But yeah, like the supply chain of this is very global in scale, and it requires materials from different parts of the country, from different countries, and things to be manufactured and processed in different parts of the world. So I don't believe that even if China were to take over, that it would 100% stop their trade with the US, and that could be just wishful thinking for me. But what I do see is that even with that threat being there,
Hmm.
TSMC actually, they're bringing manufacturing to America. That's a very interesting thing. That was a promise of Trump's campaign that it does seem to be coming true. You know, that they were talking about bringing manufacturing here, with the possible
That
threat
that
of tariffs,
happened. That
um,
happened probably hitting
a
his
little bit
first
before.
campaign. I think it happened in his first term.
But like,
Hmm.
either way, right? Like, this is something that actually is starting to come to fruition. You seeing that TSMC is actually bringing manufacturing to Arizona. I want to say they've invested 65 billion into building a manufacturing city there, center there. So that again just shows that even though there's the threat there in China. The United States has a strong interest in
Mm-hmm.
maintaining manufacturing and some control over the supply chain of chips. So again, that's just
And
more
once
supporting data.
And once again, so in TSMC, they're also expanding to more global markets too. They're also working on one in Germany, and it's another European country. I think it might be Sweden. It's either Sweden or Finland. One of those companies, one of those countries that they're looking to build out to. Once again, to kind of help with the globalization and the threat of being overtaken by China.
Mm. So, um, with all this said, right, with TSMC, we talked about TSMC, we talked about Nvidia. I kind of just want to get into again some of those companies that we can invest in, some of the ones that have been performing at the top of the industry that are poised for growth over the next 5 to 10 years. So number one that I want to talk about was Broadcom.
Mm-hmm.
Their ticker symbol is AVGO. So what Broadcom is a tech conglomerate that they invest in several different tech companies. They have a portfolio of several companies, and they essentially come in and take over the business aspects of it and try to drive up value. And AVGO has seen a lot of success over the last few years as the AI boom has progressed. We've seen them grow. They're about 67% year over year. Over the last 5 years, they've grown over 600%. So as you can see, the company has been poised for growth, especially off the hype of this AI boom. And right now, uh, Broadcom and TSMC are actually in talks of purchasing Intel's manufacturing and design division for microchips. So
Wow.
Intel is in talks of selling off that portion, and it's proposed that Broadcom would then come in, take over that design portion, and then
Mm-hmm.
TSMC would take over the manufacturing side, and both of them breaking them into separate individuals and entities. So that's something to be on the lookout for, as they could both respectively take more market share
Mm.
in
I
that
wonder what would
industry. So
that do
that's again
for I
more
wonder what that'll
growth.
do for Intel then in the long run. Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question because it looks like Intel is like, as you when we were going over the market share, they fell behind.
Yeah, they starting to dwindle.
They admittedly stopped. Yeah, they stopped investing in research and development. Um, Kind of
Basically,
past that PC
yeah.
needs
So
instead.
basically he
Whenever it
fucking
went
kicking
past their
himself in
PC
the
needs,
kicking himself in the ass right now.
yeah, yeah. So they're kind of behind the 8 ball on it. So they kind of just
Hmm.
sell it for what it's
Rather
worth,
cut their
and
losses
you
than
can't beat them.
anything.
Can't beat them. Join them. Get your cash and run.
Got you. The next company
Yes, indeed.
the next company, next ticker symbol is the company David kept on talking about, TSMC. They are once again the manufacturing leader in microchips. They are investing $65 billion in the U.S. manufacturing plant in Arizona, and they are currently up 50% year over year. So once again, if you want to invest in them, their ticker symbol is TSMC.
Yeah. And while we're giving out these things, I just want to go ahead and add this little preface in there. This is not investment advice. Everybody should, go and
Do you
evaluate
the do
investments
yeah,
based on
evaluate.
their own due diligence and make sure that it's the right thing for you. We're just giving information about things in this sector that you may or may not know about that are poised for growth. And just to add to what Jalen's saying, just to kind of help illustrate that growth of TSMC over the last 5 years, they are up over 250%. So another
Jeez.
great growth over those recent years. Moving right along, another company that is pivotal to
Supply
the
chain.
supply chain of semiconductor development is actually the company is ASML. So ASML, what they do, they produce the machines that are key to the production of the smaller, more intricate chips. They're part of what is called lithography, which is when they actually carve into the chips.
Mm-hmm.
So they are a very key part of that supply chain. they actually have experienced some slowdown in their stock price. They've seen some actual decline over the last year. They're down 22% year over year. But again, they still play a very key role in that supply chain. As we often talk about, sometimes it's good to buy things on the rare days when things are down. Their role has not diminished. Their market share hasn't diminished from what I've seen in my research. And they're still, let me pull it up real quick. I believe over the last 5 years, they're still on a growth track. Yeah, so over the last 5 years, they've grown over 140%. So this is still a company that, again, is a part of this AI boom, is just currently down, which may mean a buying opportunity for some.
Mm. The next company that you can invest in, my favorite, Big Bag Bezos, Amazon. Amazon with AWS is making significant investments in AI chip development, and it's up around 25% year over year. And once again, the biggest thing is Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services has 30% of the global cloud infrastructure market. A lot of big companies house their information on Amazon Web Services. So they are the leader in this action in this industry. They also have a lot of things that they're doing with microchips, kind of like with robotics for warehousing and different things like that to kind of help with fulfillment. So they play a key part in the those deliverables, and they are investing actually in humanoid robots like some of the other big ones as well.
I don't fuck with that humanoid robot
I
stuff,
know, man.
man. I don't think we need to do it. I don't think we need to
I
do it.
don't either,
But
man.
but well, to your point though, they're still a leader in the space, up 25% year over the last 5 years, over 100% return. So definitely, Amazon's an integral part of the U.S. economy at this point. So you can't ever go wrong betting on a winner. Just is what it is. And speaking of winners, the winner we've been talking about, winner chicken dinner, Nvidia, big Nvidia, ticker symbol NVDA. As mentioned, the company controls about 80 to 95% of the market on the sales side of things, and they're up 71% on the year, well, year over year, and last 5 years, geez, oof, man, I don't even want to tell you. Y'all might want to fight yourself if you ain't investing in Nvidia. So over the last 5 years, they're up over 1,700%. Um, and yeah, they're again poised to continue growing. And we'll see more when their earnings come out later this week. But Nvidia is always a good company to have for a long term hold for certain.
Yes, sir. Next one. This one is a REIT. Y'all know I love a good REIT. I used to talk about REITs back in like 2022. REITs are a big part of my portfolio in M1. This one is Digital Realty Trust. This REIT focuses on data centers. So they own over 300 data centers worldwide, and they have contracts with IBM, Oracle, and Facebook. They're up 20% year over year. Over the past 5 years, it looks like they are up 19.75%. The stock price is currently sitting at $165.32. And they give you a dividend yield of 2.95. So a REIT is really good for dividends. I like to invest in REITs for that, but you're also becoming an owner in some real estate, some physical real estate through that trust, that REIT. It gives you an option to say, hey, look, I can actually control the infrastructure that's part of this too. So if you want to do that, I think that's a good one to definitely have. Once again, not investment advice. Do your own research. Look up everything that they have going on.
Yes, indeed. So moving right on to another REIT, a good REIT. Another one is Equinix. So their ticker symbol is EQX. They're another leader in the data center space. They have contracts with Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, and they have around 220 centers across the nation. And they're currently trading for around $7 a share, up 65% on the year.
That ain't bad.
Now over the last 5 years, they're kind of they're kind of contrary to what we would say is like what's a great something to mess with, right?
Hmm.
Over the last 5 years, they're actually down um about 29% from the peak. Looks like they
Oh
peaked
damn.
out during the pandemic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy
So
with them, me personally.
yeah, like they had a peak during the pandemic, and then they kind of just been battling to get back to that price.
But I
Looks like the
guess
all-time high was around $13, so they're about 50% from there. And again, we're looking at it from a standpoint of they house the data centers, and the data centers are an absolute requirement for AI. So this data has to go somewhere. So they're positioned for growth. And
I
then when it
wonder if they're
comes
going to be a
to
part of the thing that Trump is doing with Project Stargate.
hmm,
I think that would be something good to look into because if they are, I can see that positioning them for growth in the future. Right? Whenever I looked
hmm.
up Project Stargate, all I saw was the actual, the big tech companies mentioned. I didn't see anything about people like housing the data centers, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be shocked if some of these REITs would be a part of that as well.
Oh, and my bad, guys. I actually gave the wrong ticker symbol for Equinix. Equinix is AQIX. My apologies. And they're actually up 30. They're up 4% year over year and 40% over the last 5 years. So, do apologize for that mishap there. I had actually had the wrong one up, but yeah, Equix is that company. Another one of the leaders in the data center space, a REIT that you can get a dividend on.
Yes, sir. Uh, I always mess up this damn name of this company. Is it
Oh, and
Palin?
just to my apologies, the dividend for Equix is gonna be 469 a share is what I'm showing here.
Is it Palantir?
Yes.
So yeah, Palantir ticker symbol PLTR. Palantir is an AI platform for companies like Linear Corp, General Mills, and Lowe's. They're used to analyze data and improve decision making. So they're used for like just what he said, decision making, kind of like projecting the company's decisions if they were to do something. I will say this over year, they're currently up 300% over the past 5 years, up 1,000%. I do think that their stock is taking a beating this year, though. Well, at least over the past 5 days, it's taken a beating. But over the past month and 6 months, year to date, it's still pretty strong. Um, Once again, another company if you want to look into that's AI driven, that's a part of that supply chain. It's helping companies make decisions. Some of the big companies that you use, that everybody use.
Indeed, and another big dog, one of the big dogs in the business. Last but not least, Microsoft. We will mention it before. Microsoft has always been one of the companies that will continually say is a good buy, because of how integral they are to infrastructure. So similar to Amazon, Microsoft has Microsoft Azure, which provides cloud services. That is part of the infrastructure to scaling AI that stores the data and helps businesses actually enable it. So like we know businesses having chat bots and things like that. This is kind of what powers a lot of those solutions. Um, over year, Microsoft's down less than 1%, and over the last 5 years, Microsoft has seen significant growth. I'm seeing what
120, 128%
yeah,
over the
oh
past five
yeah,
years.
120% over the last 5 years. So again, another winner that you can put yourself in position with instead of trying to go find the next
Microsoft
hot
is
thing.
definitely taking a beating the past over. If you go to their chart over the past year, though, they are taking a beating. Like he said, it's down 0.5%. Because we're on the topic of Microsoft, I do want to talk about one of their releases that they just released February 19th. Microsoft has released the first quantum computing chip. They are calling it Microsoft Majoriana.
Hmm.
Ma, I guess it's Majoriana, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm learning Spanish, so I don't know if that J is supposed to be a H or if it's supposed to be an actual J. Uh,
Mejor.
but yeah, it's Microsoft Majoriana, which is a quantum computing chip. And this thing is supposed to take off decades of the industry scaling up to quantum computing. In the press release, they stated that they created a whole new state of matter for this thing. It's crazy. Once again, I'm not the super tech guy to give you all of this information, but if you are interested in it, I definitely say look it up. It's doing some crazy stuff. I think that this is going to position Microsoft for growth for another 5 to 10 years as well. And this thing fits in the palm of their hands, which is crazy to me.
That's what I'm saying, man. This technology is insane, and I could definitely see the applications and uses just begin continuing to expand. And as it grows, right, you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself to benefit from it. We talked about a lot in terms of, living comfortably. And one of the topics in that was, saving and investing. So we talk about saving and investing and putting your money away in that mindset. These are things, if you're a long-term thinker, you're a person who is looking, yeah, if you're a person who's looking at, the next 5 to 10 years and what can I do to put myself in position to grow some significant wealth. We've shown you what they've done over the last 5 years, and the war for dominance isn't slowing down. So that again, this is just food for thought. I know where I'll be putting some of my money at. If I still hadn't done it yet, but I'm gonna make a quick video for people that need that assistance, showing just how you set up an account. Right, we'll show you how you set up one with M1. That's the account that Jalen and myself use. And if you guys want to get started with M1 Finance, one of the benefits of it, it allows you to build out your own portfolio, where you can essentially kind of create your own ETF. So say like you
Hmm.
want to grab all 10 of these and just put them in a fund and see what they do, right? That's something you can do with M1 Finance. You don't need to have enough money to buy a full share of each. You can start with as little as $5 to $10 and just start, right? That's the biggest thing
And
that
you
we
can
want anybody to
allocate
leave.
fractions on a
Fractional
monthly
shares,
basis.
exactly. Like one of the biggest takeaways, I just want anybody that listens to us that's been rocking with us, making sure that you're taking this information and acting with it, not just absorbing it and acknowledging it, and then looking at 5 years down the line, being like, damn, I should have did that. You were here, you heard. Um, there's no time like the present to get started. So that's really all I gotta say on that. Like just start now, because the best time to plant a tree is today. It would have been 20 years ago, but if you ain't did it then, you might as well do it now.
Thanks. In 20 more years, they'll start giving
Indeed.
you shade.
You feel me? You feel me? Start investing now, man, and you'll be better off for it in the future. But
Well, David, brother,
definitely, man. I
you
definitely.
you got anything else?
Nah, man, that's it for me, dog. I think we were able to touch on some good stuff.
Yeah, once again,
So
shout
I
out
guess we
to
could
our
just run
guy
into some
Reggie.
run into the
Reggie
housekeeping.
for stopping through. Y'all check him out if you're interested in NIL. Appreciate that, good brother. And like David said, let's get into some house cleaning.
Yeah, so again, y'all, thanks for tuning in to another installment of Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Y'all make sure if you enjoy the show, leave us a rating and review. 5-star rating is preferred, but we like honesty over here because we like to improve ourselves.
If y'all think our shit been
We don't
trash,
dish
let
it
us
if we
know.
can't take it. You feel me? So if we don't dish it, we can't take it. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. You tell me how you feel, and we're gonna take it and you do it and use it to the best of our ability to make sure that we delivering the highest product we can. But yeah, Oh, if you need insurance, if you guys are looking at getting insured, we talked about that a bit briefly with Reggie. Jalen and myself are licensed insurance agents and can get you helped out. Just make sure you email us at business@Black Wealth Renaissance, and we'll be able to help you guys get set up with that or get you connected with the right people so we can get you guys set up uninsured. Yeah, but that's about it for me. What you got, Jalen?
Man, brother, I ain't got really nothing else. Once again, great just being back, man. Great recording. I've been missing this. I love it. Thank you to everybody who've been tapping in, everybody who's listening. Once again, please leave us a rating or review. It really helps us. It helps us with our rankings. But once again, it helps us with the feedback. If y'all got anything, y'all know where to reach out to us. Podcast at Black Earth Renaissance for anything pertaining to the show. But once again, get at us for that life insurance. We can take care of you. We can show you what a term policy looks like, where you can start paying as little as $20 a month to get insured. Or if you want to go something more permanent, something that'll actually take care of you and cover you for the rest of your life, we can get you a permanent policy, whole life policy, or we can get you an IUL. But until next time, brother, I ain't really got nothing else to say. I'm gonna do the little extra outro, man. Damn, I can't speak. Until next time, this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out. Peace.
Peace.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce.
Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.